Hi everybody, we're here answering questions sent in by you guys, and today the questions that we have are all around the All-American Quarter Horse Congress. So if you have questions about Congress, you can leave them for us here. We'll try to get to them while we're live, or if you're watching the replay, you can still leave your questions and we will try to circle back to those and get those answered. We're here We are here every Thursday at noon answering questions that are sent in by you guys, and if you have a suggestion for a topic or a question, you can send those in to us wherever you're finding us, or you can send us an email at hayescofelph@gmail.com.
I think it's also, before we even get started, it's funny to say recap when most people
Are just
haven't even left to go there, really.
Yeah.
The Rainers and the Ranch Riders obviously were there at the very beginning.
And they moved the schedule earlier this year, so we're actually back by the...
Yeah,
we're back 2nd of October, we're back.
Normally we would be there for the Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Did they move the whole show back, or did they move an extra week?
I actually didn't even look to see if they extended the whole show, and there was a lot of different things being talked about while we were at the show. I thought they had extended it to allow for more ranch entries, but they also took out the cutting this year.
Well, they didn't take it out. There's still a Congress cutting. They moved it off property.
Yeah, they took it out of the Ohio State Fairgrounds, and then they put it. The other thing that people were talking about was how they had moved it earlier to allow for the barrel horses to get over to the World Show, because I guess the way that they did have it before, it only allowed 3 days for the barrel horses to get from Congress over to the World Show. But I don't know how that worked, because the World Show also got backed up a week this year to allow for, I guess there's an additional show in between the World Show and the NRHA Futurity at Oklahoma City. So I'm not sure about that, but yeah, we're definitely back earlier, and the whole show started earlier.
Not that had anything to do with the recap. I just curious.
No, it is. It's funny that we're doing a recap, and a lot of people are just getting moved in now.
I see on the Facebook thing that lots of people are like, "Oh, we're heading there in a day or two or a week or two."
Yeah, the people that go down and stay for a long time. A lot of those people, a lot of the pleasure people.
Well, or like the barrel people won't be there for
a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's just on a rant.
Okay. So there was a few questions that you guys had sent in, and like I said, if you have questions as we go, then you can go ahead and ask those.
For anybody wondering, I did not go. I wasn't allowed to go. My wife wanted time away from me.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
I got left at home.
You did not
with
go
two
this
lovely
time.
Girls who were sick.
Who got the stomach flu.
So yeah. I have no idea what all was. I mean, I kind of caught the gist of it on the video every once in a while, but I didn't watch.
This was a solo. This was a girls' trip this time. Yeah.
Not invited. Don't know any of the happenings. Maybe I don't want to know any of the happenings. But.
So I went down with a client of ours, Jen, who you may have seen, who did very well, has a very nice horse and did very well. And she and I both showed her horse a little bit. She was 4th in the NSBA and 7th in the AQHA in the Ranch Riding Amateur Level 1, which was really exciting. She beat her previous personal best placing at Congress this year. Had a good run. She was, I want to say she was like between a 76 and a 77 and a half. I can't remember how it was amongst the 3 judges, but she had a good run and did a really good job. And then I took another horse down there to ride, and we are both headed to the World Show.
The biggest thing on my mind, of course, was what are the fads? What everybody riding in for saddles? I don't care what they're wearing for shirts.
You don't care what people are wearing, and that was actually the question that was sent in, was what are people wearing? And that's the first thing that I usually get when I come back from everybody is, what was everybody wearing? Because what happens at Congress and what happens at some of the biggest shows, that starts to, I don't want to say trickle down, because that doesn't sound great, but that starts to move out.
Well, when you see 100 and some of the biggest horses in the world, or the show people that are doing
the
it,
biggest and the best,
you look at it and go, okay, what are they wearing?
Yeah, what are they wearing? And then you do start to see those fat, and you also start to see the newest things that the vendors are offering, because Congress has so much shopping. So what are people wearing in the ranch and the reining? And you also want to talk about tack trends, so we'll maybe just do that quickly as well.
I would, just from watching it on video.
Oh, you have some thoughts that you'd like to share?
My fashion advice is, thank God they're getting away from chinks. I own chinks. Anybody that has chinks, great. Mm-hmm. I own a pair. I work in them though.
Hardly ever.
I don't. Hardly ever. I only use them if I'm ponying horses that want to bite my legs. And I haven't had one of those in a really long time. To be 100% on, I can't even tell you where they're at right now. But I like the looks of chaps, and I'm glad to see the chinks are kind of going out. We have some customers that like their chinks. Good for you, but everybody knows my opinion on it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Fashion advice by Jess.
Everybody was asking what you thought about chinks. But you're right, the trend of a few years ago, maybe even 2 years ago when we went down, the ranch was getting quite costumey. There was getting to be a lot of, like, you know, people had ropes hanging on their saddles, and maybe were wearing like a roping glove, and a lot of chinks, and it's gotten away from that, and it's gotten to be very classy, very understated, very high quality working equipment. It's actually,
I think you said the right word, working, functioning.
Yeah, functional, like the actual stuff that you would want to saddle up and use. And I had a blast seeing it, because, you know, of course you get to see so many at Congress. There's so many entries and you get to see so many, but the really high quality, you know, of course there was a ton of Bob saddles there and all the different combinations, and, you know, a lot of rust iron conchos, and you can definitely still get away with some sterling silver, like a set of 6 conchos, or even an upgraded rear D or something, but there were no silver corner plates, no silver on the pommel, or I don't think I even saw any up under the gullet. A lot of just really classy, understated saddles. Same with pads. The pads were all, I shouldn't say all, the majority of the pads were very muted colors, so we're not seeing as many bright colors in the ranch as we are in the reining. A lot of the reining are like very bright, vibrant, eye-catching colors, where over in the ranch it was a lot more muted. A lot of what people are calling ranch pads, which is like just a little bit different pattern than some of the reining pads. There was definitely people that were using them in both, but on the whole, you know, like I said, when you get to go down there and just for 7 days or whatever it was that we were there, just go back and forth from the reining pen and the ranch pen, definitely seeing a lot more muted colors, the specific to ranch pads, really beautiful collections of tack, you know, where we have like some of the rawhide stuff, a lot of romals, couple people like in a 2-rein, but a lot of people in romals, a lot of rawhide headstalls, some really cool breast collars, and
one that I really notice is people are taking it, you know, this event's been around it long enough now.
Yeah.
And it's gaining in such popularity. They're buying the saddles, the back cinches, the breast, they match. It's not like seeing somebody with, you're like, a
seeing somebody
rough out work saddle and
slapped a
some kind of combination
back cinch on the back of something. No, these were really nice.
It makes the look.
And I think same thing in the reining, actually. In the reining, you're seeing a lot of really beautifully curated sets. Like, you're seeing you know, there's a lot of the headstalls with sterling silver on them, and it's got like the T silver up by the ear and the big buckle set and the conchos, and a lot of them have like some kind of exotic inlaid, some of those wider bellied headstalls really popular.
But more matches. I think that's lately, is it like they're matching the whole deal.
The whole set together for sure. Yeah. Even if it's not purchased all together, making sure that it really coordinates well. But yeah, you're seeing a lot of the complete sets, and a lot of, I don't know if it's my imagination, but I think a lot of newer saddles. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know how many new saddles I've seen in previous years, but I feel like this year, especially this year, and I noticed it at the Futurity last year, there's a lot of people investing in new saddles and new entire sets, and they're just...
It's their show stuff now. Instead of just, it's an add-on class, it's an actual...
I meant for the reining, too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised at how many new saddles there are. There's some people that are, you know, definitely showing in older saddles and sets that they've kind of curated over time and pieced together, but a lot of brand new entire sets, like headstall, saddle in the ranch, saddle, breast collar, back cinch for sure. I think the question was actually more around shirts, though. We've talked about tack now and saddle pads, and I think the question was actually like shirts. Muted, for sure, muted colors in the ranch, more kind of soft patterns or not really loud patterns. I didn't see as much of the, like, you know, embroidery and stuff on the yokes and that kind of thing, just very understated. In the reining, definitely the bright, vibrant colors. I didn't see as many of the vests and things. I feel like Congress has had a lot of the, you know, the blingy vests. Didn't see as many of those this year, but definitely in the reining, but definitely a lot of solid shirts or pattern shirts, and the solid shirts, a lot of them had just like a little bit of sparkle or bling maybe on the collars or on the cuffs. Maureen's asking, do you see black chinks in ranch? Wondering if I could convert my full chaps to chinks. You see, I think they're moving away from having a lot of chinks. You have a really good quality set of chinks, and I think they might still be appropriate, but if you already have full chinks, I wouldn't convert them.
Full chaps.
Full chaps. I wouldn't convert them. Definitely wouldn't convert them to chinks. The other thing about chinks that, you know, it's not just a style, like an aesthetic thing, it's also the look. When you have the fringe, when you have a big fringe and you have a fringe that ends at the knee, when you're jogging and you have all that motion of the fringe at the knee, it adds a real, it looks like the rider's bouncing around and there's just more motion there. And I don't think that's desirable. I think there's a lot of influence for the judges to pick a horse, to put influence on the jog. You know, the horse has to look like it has a really nice, comfortable jog. They're trying to picture what somebody's going to ride on a ranch. And if you're in the jog and you have a lot of fringe, whether it's on your chinks or it's on your full chaps, if you have a lot of that fringe that's flopping around, or if you have a shirt that's really loose and you have a lot of fabric moving around, that's not the look that you want to go. So Shelly's saying some chinks are not fitted properly and they look worse. For sure. If you, any equipment that you're using or anything that you're putting on your body, you want it to be fitted properly. I think that's super, super important. Were you going to say something else? No, about chinks.
Well, I think chaps are the same way though. Like a nice pair of chaps. You know, like when you invest in show horse stuff, I feel like a hat and chaps are your two biggest ones. Like you see it all the time. People go to the local tack store, buy the off the shelf. You know, and they never sit right. Good Nice chaps and nice hats definitely make the look more than anything. Chinks are hard to get to fit right, and a lot of people don't order them to fit their body. They just buy them off the rack. So yeah, they just don't fit right.
Yeah, and you're probably not going to use the chinks for other classes, so I wouldn't.
Stick with the chaps.
I wouldn't invest in them for sure right now. Save your money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was your thought on the horses in the Futurity ranch and reining?
I actually didn't watch the ranch Futurity. I watched the 4 and 5-year-old ranch stakes, and it was really deep and really fun. It was really, really exciting to watch. It really made me excited to see how broke and how handy the horses are getting, and just the way that the class is evolving. The 4 and 5-year-old, I don't know how many horses in there. I was just like, oh my gosh, they're so cool.
And it's cool, like that deal that there was Clark Bradley and I forget the other guy's name. You know, putting the money up into the Futurity and 4 and 5-year-old stuff.
Bunch of money, yeah.
So there's a lot of horses that are getting broke just for that. You know,
yeah.
they're bringing them young horses up. So I mean, that definitely.
Well, and somebody, I want to say it was Sam
horses.
Schaffhauser, brought one in who had been laid off a little bit, so they didn't put him in the reining Futurity. So they just started kind of aiming him towards the ranch in the last little while, and he did quite well in the ranch Futurity. And I think that's really cool. It gives horses another place to go where maybe the intensity of the maneuvers in the reining they needed to back off from a little bit, but they could manage the ranch, and the people that are doing a really good job of getting their horses truly broke and not just broke specific to, you know, one thing. They can do that. They can spend a little bit of time and flop them over and do very well. I thought that was
one thing I really
very
noticed,
exciting.
Though, like out at the Congress, but like trying to buy horses and look at horses. You know, right now, of course, I'm on Facebook all the time trying to find yearlings and what's out there. And it's amazing how there's horses bred to rein, and there's now starting to be a lot of people who are breeding for ranch horse show horses.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And then you also see a lot of videos now where they're trotting those reining horses and saying, like, there's another avenue for this horse. Some reiners can't jog. You know, I mean, I like reiners, but not all reiners make a ranch horse. Like everybody says, like Sam dropped one back out of the reining. I guarantee it wasn't just one dropped off. I mean, it was a nice jogger to begin with, and, you know, on and on and on. And that's definitely changed the market for the horses.
And the ranch is evolving so much that it's not just, does it do a half decent jog? It's like, some of these got to be, you know, really pretty movement. Like, they have to just really float, and it's really exciting to see the really beautiful ones move around.
It's interesting when you say too about like certain people that get them broke. I don't know Sam very much. I met him years and years ago. His father, they're from Arkansas, and his dad used to haul a lot of non-pros around and whatever. Mm-hmm. And he worked for McQuay for many years, or I shouldn't say many years, but a number of years. And even his reiners, before he started doing the ranch, they were broke. You could see the non-pros riding them, the rookies and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it was such, you know, so there are certain people that, you know, so shout out
for
to him.
For sure.
You know, and there's a few
his
reiners
daughter
like
did
that.
super well at the show. His clients did super well. They all looked good. None of them were the same style. A lot of different breeding, a lot of different styles.
And there's definitely some reining horse trainers who
flipping back and forth from the ranch to
Matt
reining.
Lance does a bunch of those.
Oh, Matt Lance and the Lance group.
You know, like
amazing.
I think
Congress.
That's the thing is they have the horses that do multiple things.
Yeah.
And in my brain, it's funny how all the people that do well in the ranch on top of the reining are always non-pro friendly trainers.
Yeah.
In that they have to get them broke for the beginners and the greens and the stuff. And that was what I sure noticed watching it.
Yeah, you're right. That's so interesting, isn't it?
You know, when you see who the people are, you you know, whose horses flipped the other way. You know, another one was, well, and he passed away this year, was like when Rusty Dare came over into the ranch there a little bit. You know, it was such an easy thing for him because, you know, his horses were broke because he went for years making non-pro horses, pleasure horses and reiners. And a lot of people didn't know Rusty as the reiners. He was so good in the all-around horses. But when you see those horses at that age that can do it, you know who can get one broke.
Yeah.
And broke for maneuvers, not just...
So nice. So the question that was sent in was actually, were there any nice horses in the Futurity? And I think that meant the reigning Futurity. And yeah, there was a ton of them. Like, they're all nice. You know, the ones I liked...
The caliber of horses every year just keeps getting so much nicer.
Yeah. The ones that I liked, there was a bay horse that was in the first set. I think it was, would it be Cassidy Fox that rode it? Young guy. I don't think I've seen him before, so it was cool that he made it into the 3 and 4. I want to say it was a Scotch Mist. Anyways, really nice bay horse that just, I think it had like a 216 or something, but like just looked so pleasant, so easy in all of its maneuvers. Looked like it was set up well as a 3-year-old to go and have a really beautiful career. It didn't look, you know, overrode or anything like that. Just like everything was so easy. Ears were forward the whole time. That was probably my favorite one. I didn't get to see the horse that won it. I stayed until 2 runs before that, and then I was getting tired and I had to go take care of horses before I went to bed, and it was getting late. So unfortunately I missed that one. Casey Deary had a really, really nice run. But that bay horse is the one that stuck out to me, actually. I should go back and see what its name was. Be interesting to see it.
You should prepare for these way better, you know.
I should prepare for this Facebook
Don't
Live
just show
better
up
and have
5
the
seconds
name.
before it goes.
Yeah, I should. And then we have one more question that was sent in, which was how big were the ranch entries and the reigning entries? And the ranch entries were huge, I would say. And they've added way more classes. So what did they have the first year? Just ranch riding, or did they have not like amateur and open, or the first year that they had ranch?
God, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I know. Somebody was saying it was like a newer class, and I was like, well, I'm pretty sure we showed it in 2015 at Congress, so it's starting to have been around for a little while. But
well, I think it was...
the classes were huge. There was every class that you could have. You know, there was the amateur. In the beginning it
was just open and amateur.
Yeah.
And youth.
There was like the amateur select, the amateur level 1, the amateur select level 1. There was the youth 13 and under, youth 14 to 18.
Then ranch trail.
And then they also had all the ranch rail classes and a bunch of ranch trail classes. They had derby classes, the futurities, stakes classes. They had everything. So the ranch entries, I don't know if they were up per class, but I believe they added way more classes. So I think on the whole, the ranch entries would be way up. And the reigning entries were way up this year. There was over 200 runs per day for the reiners, and I know somebody told me there was over 1,000 reiners on the grounds. So that's good. The downside to it was that it left very little riding time in the arenas to get ready, and they actually had to bump one of the classes. There was a class, the amateur level 1, that was supposed to be on Sunday, got moved to Tuesday, and a lot of people were up in arms about that because they'd come all the way. I know Jen was telling me there was a trainer there from Florida with 4 amateurs who had come from Florida just for that class, 4 riders, and they couldn't stay. They didn't book off that time off of work, and they couldn't stay till Tuesday. And they found out a couple days before that they were moving it. So that was unfortunate. But it's nice to see that the reigning entries are up, for sure.
What's your highlight and what's your blooper of the Congress? Best and worst.
I knew you were going to ask me this on the internet. My highlight was Jen's success in the pen, and her horse is riding really well. It was a pleasure to ride her horse. I really enjoyed riding and showing her horse as well. Jen's success in the pen, for sure. Linda Weeb, friend of ours from Michigan, who's such a class act. Claps for every single person anytime a name is announced. Just
a nice person.
Just a delightful person to be around. She was Congress champion. That was a highlight for me for sure. Blooper, I ripped my pants right before I showed. Thanks for bringing that up. And if you want to know more about the hilarious story, ask me when I'm not on the internet, because it's quite good.
So I guess a few shout outs. I mean, Jen did well. Linda Weave did well.
Yes, Karen Schenken also did very well. The whole Lance group did amazing.
Calla Thomas won the youth.
Yes. Yes, very
That's
fun.
always kind of fun, knowing her for
And she's
ever.
done it 5 times or something, I think. Which is incredible. Really, really cool. And her mom, Natasha, was in the top 15 on a client source. Yeah, that's one of the only runs I actually got to watch. She did a good job, obviously.
Shout out to Natasha and Billy, also for being Congress champion producers.
Producers? Jeez. Oh, we're going off the rails now. Okay, yes. Shout out to some of our group that came down to cheer Jen on too. That was fun. It's always fun to have a group to come down and cheer and hang out together. Okay, we better wrap this up because my cell phone battery is dying here and we've got to get back to work. But thanks for being here with us, you guys. Thanks for sending your questions in. Don't hesitate to send more questions in, and we will see you next week.
Have a good day.